Another great example of Jehovah guiding His servants is the construction of the Walk Hill Bethel complex here in the United States. Before that location was acquired and built, the organization owned another property outside of New York City called Kingdom Farm. That's actually where the Gilead School was held at the time. But the location was not ideal, so Brother George Couch was assigned to find a new property that later became Walk Hill Bethel. Brother Couch served at World Headquarters until his death in 2007. Please enjoy listening to his account of what happened, told in a way that only our dear Brother Couch could.
Brother Nora said around in this early 60s sometime about looking at getting another farm closer to New York so we didn't have to travel so far. So one cold Saturday morning, I called Brother Larson and I said, Brother Larson, you want to take a trip with me? He said, I'll go with you. I didn't tell him where I was going. So we come up here to the Goebel place, and I come up with the intention of asking Brother Goebel where he had advised us to look for buying a farm. And so we got here about 10 o'clock, and cold. They had finished the barn work, and we come in the house and had a cup of coffee and had a bite breakfast with them. And of course, they kept looking at us, wondering, what in the world are you doing up here? And so finally we said, we're thinking of getting a farm closer to New York than Kingdom Farm, and thought maybe you'd have some ideas. And it just stunned them. They looked at one another, and then they looked at us, and I thought, no, what in the world did we say wrong? And she said, you know, yesterday we put this farm up for sale, and we were the buyers of it then. But we had no workers, and so one Tuesday morning, Brother Norm, Brother Larson, and I were coming up here to the farm, and we brought up the subject of where are we going to get help. Brother Norm made this suggestion, why don't you bring in some circuit and district overseers and call them in for a short time and have them help. And so we had the file with us of the circuit and district overseer. So on our way up, we picked out 50 circuit and district overseers. We wrote them a letter and told them that it was a special assignment. It would only last about 6 months. We didn't have a typewriter. We didn't have a computer. We didn't have blueprints when we started the job. Brother Dexter Bushing, he bought himself a calculator to do the stressing and strain figuring work on it, and that's how we built the building. The schedule was from daylight to dark. We set up a temporary kitchen in the farmhouse and fed cafeteria style, which worked out quite well. The brothers ate in the porch and out in the yard and wherever they could sit down. We got the basement in on the farm building, and the brothers put beds in there. So it was a makeshift. We had everything but tents. And I'd say most of our pick and shovel brothers, they slept in the corn cribs, they slept in the hay mow, they slept anywhere they could put a bunk up. All the brothers at Brooklyn Bethel with 25 years or more seniority were invited to come up, and they had a nice steak meal for us. Brother Noor gave the dedication talk, and then he called in Brother Franz to say a few words. And Brother Franz got up and he started back in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, that what he was saying, that man started off as a farmer, and he sort of developed that to a certain extent. After that, I came up here every week, no doubt, for the next 10 to 15 years. I saw the brothers turn this piece of ground from a junkyard to a paradise it is today. That started the society in their construction work, our own construction work. Then we built several other buildings after that. We saw we could do it. And the interesting thing is, it wasn't long after that we started to send brothers into foreign lands to help the brothers build branch homes, missionary homes, kingdom halls. Just to be honest with it, we had to get out of New York. Our buildings weren't big enough to take the modern presses. They were high enough. The weight limit to our buildings wouldn't hold them. You couldn't buy land in New York City to put up a building like you have there. It's almost an impossibility. So there was only one thing to do. Our presses were old and we had to replace them. No place in New York to put them. We looked for land, but we couldn't find any place. The Lord just drove us up here. When you look back over things, sometimes you think, my, someone had some wise thinking and a good foresight. No, the Lord's Spirit did. The Lord's running the organization. It's a theocratic organization. Sometimes it's surprising where the idea comes from and what you're going to do. Don't worry about what it's going to be like after Armageddon. It'll be just the way we want it because the Lord's going to do it. The Lord didn't see fit to put it in the Bible. We don't need to know now. We got our hands full now just preaching. What the Lord has in mind for the future, who knows?
Jehovah's direction was clear. Many brothers and sisters worked very hard on that construction project, and we know that Jehovah blessed their efforts. And there's a great need for more zealous workers in the organization today.